All right, now let's stop talking and just do our little problem here. They're not hard. I just want to make sure you understand it. So here's the thing. I want to know what is the phase sequence of the following set of voltages. A phase is 301 cosine of omega t plus 76 degrees. B phase is 301 cosine omega t plus 316 degrees. And C phase is 301 cosine omega t minus 164 degrees. All right, and I want to know what's the phase sequence. Now, first of all, I've been telling you over and over again, A phase is typically 0. It's the reference. That's always going to be true of these problems. But here in the beginning, you get some hokey little problems to test your knowledge. Here the A phase is some weird angle of 76 degrees. Everything else should be 120 separated from him, and he's not 0. That's just done to test you. In reality, the A phase is almost always going to be 0 degrees. But for now, let's just say you have this and we want to know what the phase sequence actually is. Okay. First of all, just for practice, this means phasor is 301 at an angle of 76 degrees. This means that B vector is 301 at an angle of 316 degrees. And this means that C phasor is 301 at an angle of negative 164 degrees. So that's a compact way of writing it, is what you might see. Now let's go ahead and draw. The way that you need to figure out what the phase sequence is you draw the phasor diagram. You don't have to do that. You can just start subtracting these numbers, but I actually get confused when I do that, and you'll see why in a second. But let's just go ahead and draw it, and then we'll go from there. So let's go ahead and say that, let's do it like this. Here's an xy plane. Here's x. Here's y. I'm kind of drawing it small because I'm going to have another problem I'm going to show you down underneath here. So what we're going to do is say that the A phasor is some amplitude at 76 degrees. Now this is 90 degrees, so just a little bit less than that's going to be, you have guesstimated a little bit. This is 76 degrees right here. Okay, so what we have is this guy is going to be phasor A. Phasor B is an angle of positive 316. So again, when you're measuring angles, you're always measuring relative to the x-axis. So that's 76 degrees. This one is what? This is 270 down here. That's 360. That's too far. So it's somewhere kind of over here. You could get your protractor out and figure that out, but it's roughly right around there. Okay, and that's going to be BV sub B. And then vector C is negative 164. So now we're measuring in the negative sense. This is negative 180. That's too far. That's negative 90. So it's going to be somewhere in the middle, a little bit closer probably to this. Something like this. This is vector C. Or phasor C. So in order to do this problem, I'm telling you the fastest way to do it is if they give you three phases like this and they say, what is the phase sequence? The fastest way to do it is plot A, plot B, plot C. And then in order to find the answer, you start at A. Next, you go clockwise, you hit B, then you finally hit C. So this one is an A, B, C sequence, which is a positive sequence. Right? That's how you find it. That's how I want you to do it on the test. Now, I want to teach you a little something else, though, because I think it's important. Now, you can draw it and you can see it, and you can also see that they're more or less balanced. They should be equally distributed around a 360-degree circle, right? Now, a lot of you are going to look at these numbers and say, well, why can't I just subtract those numbers? I should be able to do that, right? And also verify that they're 120 degrees apart. That's true. But in order to get the sequence, it's better to go A and then circle back around. But when you look at these numbers, they don't look like they're separated by 120 degrees at first glance. And so that confuses a lot of students. It confuses me in the beginning, right before I thought about it a little bit. But what you have here is, if you really think about it, let me switch colors here. Let me think about it. I'll erase this in a second. Let's take A and B, for instance. It doesn't matter the order. Let's say 316, and let's subtract from it 76. What do you get when you do that subtraction? You get 240. And your first thought is, that's wrong. It should be 120. What's the problem here? But then you realize that, as I told you in the past here, you're looking between A and B. This is A and B. So this is A and this is B. What you found, because actually, let's see here. A and B. When you subtract them, if you get a number bigger than